Everyone started off by drafting the Beast Brothers, and the Beast Brothers are Arian Foster and Marshawn Lynch. And going into 2015, you can expect both these players to be beasts, top of the line running backs. Last season you were able to get both of them in the second round. The strategy was obviously to get one in the first, one in the second, but now they're both going in the first round this year. Arian Foster, he is still not getting love this season. Despite everything he did last year, he played 13 games. 3 of them he was a decoy, yet he still finished second in points per game at the running back position. And there's reason to believe that Arian Foster is going to be better this season. And the reason for that, well, a key reason for that, is Brian Hoyer this year at quarterback. Now, that might sound like the Fitzmagic thing all over again, but Brian Hoyer, another one of those ex-New England Patriot quarterbacks coming into the system. They did lose Andre Johnson, but they added 2 nice weapons in Cecil Shorts III. They added another weapon in Nate Washington. Texans once again have that easy schedule. Arian Foster not getting love. He's going around the number 7, 8, 9th pick in fantasy football drafts. He could even fall to the second round in 12-man leagues. But this is a guy that you should be targeting very high. It's a little too early to give him his official rank because you got to see these guys in preseason action. And we might not even see Arian in preseason action, but we'll be able to see Hoyer in preseason action, make estimates off of that. But right now, I'm thinking he's the number 2, number 3 fantasy football running back behind the beast himself, Marshawn Lynch. 17 touchdowns last year. You can guarantee that the Seahawks will be running more in the red zone this year after that Super Bowl collapse from Pete Carroll. And I don't know how many of you were here for the first, BeastCast that we did in week 1, Thursday Night Football, Green Bay Packers, Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks had this huge lead on the Packers, yet they kept throwing the football over and over and over again, even in the red zone. It's driving me nuts. It's driving everyone nuts. Marshawn still got his 2 touchdowns, but he should have had 4. Once again, we see the same thing in the Super Bowl. Enough about that. Now they got Jimmy Graham. Marshawn Lynch is the number 1 overall pick in fantasy football. Don't even hesitate. Don't feel like you have to take Adrian Peterson. Yes, Adrian Peterson will be a beast this year. Teddy Bridgewater looked very good for a rookie at the end of the year. He looked like he got a grasp on things. And Mike Wallace, the addition that the Minnesota Vikings made this offseason, he is going to expand the field. You can expect him to have a good season. And, this is not a guy who I'm promoting too heavily to my VIPs, but he's got some sleeper potential in there. And it's Kyle Rudolph at tight end. The system that they're running in Minnesota really goes towards the tight ends. It's the same offensive coordinator that was there for the San Diego Chargers back in the LaDainian Tomlinson, Antonio Gates days. And yet people still see a tight end like Travis Kelce is a way better option than Kyle Rudolph, which makes no sense. But then again, all the experts are heavy again on Jamal Charles as pretty much a number 1, number 2, number 3 pick, which is just bizarre. Mal Davis, he's ready to take that next step and be an absolute beast this year. I'm not saying he's going to put up those fantasy football numbers, but he's going to eat into Jamal Charles' time. There's no doubt about that. And there's no reason to go after Jamal Charles once again in fantasy football. And let's talk more about 2014 fantasy football. A lot of people want to point to some of my bad picks, and let's talk about them because you know what? Let's debate it. RG3. I know a lot of people's hearts crumbled when they heard that name right there. RG3 caused pretty much everyone in the Beast Dome Nation to go from either 1-0, 1-1, no, I'm sorry, 1-0 or 0-1 to 0-2 or 1-1. But you know what? The truth is he got injured. And he is a player that is injury prone. And I warned everyone about this. I told everyone to target, someone like Tom Brady in the very next round, Jay Cutler in the very next round. And even take a third quarterback. Go with Joe Flacco, who I ranked higher than all the experts, who is still a top 10 quarterback. So there was a lot of escapes from that, and that really was not a collapse. And if you really look at the whole season as a whole, you look at the receiver core, because I have the nickname as a wide receiver whisperer from a VIP, which I find hilarious. I love it. But you look at the receivers last year that are ranked higher than all the experts. You're looking at Jeremy Maclin, who had a breakout season. You're looking at Golden Tate, who was basically Megatron without the ginormous numbers. You're looking at Mike Evans, who I ranked higher than every expert, and now there's experts telling you to take him as a number 8 receiver this season. And let's go with everyone's favorite. He's basically the face of the Beast Dome Nation in a way. Triple S, Steve Smith Sr. Everyone loves Steve Smith Sr. You know, this guy is just the veteran of all veterans. And we're going to talk about him a little bit just because he's on everyone's mind in the Beast Dome Nation. You know, with no more Torrey Smith, it's going to be a lot of Triple S in there. And that's just all you have to know. He's going to be the number 1, number 2 guy. A little bit of a sleeper. Dennis Pitta should be returning this year, and that's going to make.
They're the hitless wonders. I can't take it anymore.
No David Wright this season. At least Curtis Granderson somewhat heating up. Somewhat.
They've been shut out 1-0 4 times this year. I can't take it anymore.
Yeah, the Mets need a big overhaul, but at least you got your New York Football Giants to look forward to.
Thank God, that's why I wanted to ask you about Beckham, because why shouldn't he be up there like with Des Bryant? Why is he ranked lower?
Here's the thing about Odell Beckham is that last year the Giants, they were injured everywhere. Their running back core was gone. Victor Cruz was gone. And Eli Manning, this team was just basically throwing the ball to Odell Beckham all day, every day. And while I like Odell Beckham Jr. as a player, I think he's amazing, I just see that now that their running back core is healthy, now that Shane Vereen is with the team, who's another guy that's going to get targets, now that Victor Cruz looking like he's going to be healthy, ready to go for week 1. That's another option that's in the way. Eli Manning is already talking about Ruben Randall, someone that's going to have a breakout season. I love their tight end and Larry D, basically the clone of Martellus Bennett. They got a lot of options this year. And while Odell Beckham Jr. is going to be a superstar and he's going to have some big, big games, no doubt about it, there's also going to be times where he only gets 6 catches for 75 yards, something like that. And if I'm drafting the number 1 or number 2 receiver off the board, I'm not going to take some guy that's going to be a little inconsistent at times, not to mention that the NFC East got a lot better defensively. How do you like that answer?
I'm with you, Munt.
All right. That's all that matters. But I will tell you this. Eli Manning, now that he's got all these options healthy, you know, if this is a guy that slips, you know, and you can get him as a backup quarterback after you basically have everything you need, why not take him? This is a guy that could easily approach the numbers that he had last year. You know, automatic 4,500 plus yards. Why not? So Eli Manning, that's a guy that you can target as a good backup.
What about a starter? If you can get him as a steal later, you know, everybody says you draft quarterbacks very late today. He's liable to put up over 30 touchdowns and 4,000 yards this year, don't you think?
I'm not complaining about him at all. I love Eli, but the thing is you're looking at a quarterback like Matt Stafford who's going after Eli, and Stafford's a guy who I trust more. I like that he's playing indoors. I like that he's indoors late in the season when, you know, bad weather could really just ruin your whole season and the playoffs. So I'm just going with the safer guy, and I like the system better in Detroit than the system they're running with the Giants.